All right, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly Wednesday Q&A. So for about the past month or so, I've been putting out a status once again about 11 o'clock Central Time, asking people to ask me questions on anything, whether it's diet, training, things about me, things you want to know, what I have in the future. So we're going to get things going here. I did have a few questions that rolled in last week after the video aired. So I'm going to hit those first. So we'll just dive right into those, and as people roll in, you can feel free to ask any questions that you have. But I did have quite a few, so we will get to them here shortly. I will keep this to at maximum an hour. I think an hour is plenty to get to everyone's questions. What's up, Tommy? So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the questions. Matt, you're already trolling me. I like it, man. So Rebecca asked, and this was one that rolled in last week. She asked, do I have to gain fat to gain muscle in the off season? This is regards to basically her current off season, and does she think that she needs to gain fat in order to gain muscle? Well, in short, no, you don't necessarily need to gain fat. You do need to be in a caloric surplus, a slight caloric surplus. Now, some people can get away with being in a little bit lower of a surplus when they're gaining muscle. But I think what really Rebecca is getting at, and then the next question is, how lean can she be in order to gain, and then how far should she be away from stage conditions? So they kind of all go hand in hand. And then, especially since Rebecca obviously is a female, one thing that you have to consider, especially for women in the off season, is your hormones. Are you losing your period during contest prep? How long does it take you to get back? Now, a lot of people have different body fat set points. For me, I'll use myself as an example because I know my body the best, obviously. My normal, comfortable walking around weight is anywhere from about, I would say, 193 to 195. And I'm currently at 193 pounds right now. Anything over, 195, upwards of 200 pounds and over, I do feel a little bit uncomfortable. Actually, I'm a little bit more sluggish. My performance does go down. But if I get, let's say, under 193, I notice that my performance goes down slightly just because I'm in a deficit. My joints might ache a little bit more, and it goes to the extremes too. If I'm too heavy, my joints ache. If I'm too light, I just don't have enough cushion there, to support me in my bigger lifts. So for Rebecca, one thing that you have to focus on, especially in your off season, is your performance optimized, and are you at a body fat level that your hormones can take you to a place where you need to be? So if that means, I know ladies are a little bit different. For we'll just use guys for an example. Is your testosterone level at a point where you can gain enough muscle? Ladies, is your hormones regulated enough where you're still having a normal period every single month? If it's not, then you need to increase food. And it's kind of a common myth that a lot of people have to lose their period in order to get lean enough. It happens to some people, but that shouldn't be a sign of oh man, I'm getting close to stage ready if you lose it. The goal would be not to lose it, obviously, just so your hormones keep regulated. So Rebecca, to answer your last questions, how far from stage weight should you be? Once again, it's going to depend on your different body fat set point, but for ladies, I like to see under 20 pounds. I think if you're over 20 pounds from stage weight, then that might cause some issues of longer dieting and messing up your hormones from a long contest prep diet. So I would say if you keep it roughly about 20 pounds, then you'll be good. 15 to 20 pounds would be great. Anything more than that, and you might have to diet longer. Anything less than that, and performance might suffer, and you just might not gain as much muscle in that off season. And then one other one that came in late last week, and then I'll get to the ones that came in. Ben asked me last week how to maximize protein synthesis, and then different types of protein to take, to maximize protein synthesis. So really, to maximize your protein synthesis, you really want to focus on spacing your meals out anywhere from 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes I do 3 just because I have to hit my pre-workout meal at a certain time. I usually try about 4. Sometimes I go over But really, anywhere from basically 3 to 5 hours, you're going to maximize protein synthesis. As far as the different sources of protein, really, Ben, what I try to get at, especially for protein sources, if you're looking to maximize protein synthesis, and the thing that maximizes protein synthesis the most would be leucine, and you would want to get somebody about 200 pounds, like my size. I would say about 3 grams of leucine per meal, and then you have to look at the sources. So whether it's chicken, whether it's fish, whether it's Greek yogurt, whether it's whey, look at the amount of leucine that's actually in your protein source, and that's something that you might have to look up on your own just to see, and shoot for a minimum of 2 to 3 grams per meal, and then space your meals out accordingly for the day. Now, for competitors, it may be a little bit more important. For non-competitors, I wouldn't really worry about it too much. But yeah, 2 to 3 grams of leucine per protein source per meal. And then Ben also asked a second question: is there any specific type of workouts that you do during mini cuts versus bulking? And honestly, no, because my workouts always focus around some kind of strength and some kind of hypertrophy. A lot of people make the mistake of like, all right, in the off season, I'm only going to lift heavy. And then when they're going to diet for a contest, they're only going to do high rep exercises because they think they're going to burn more calories. And in reality, that just doesn't happen. If anything, it turns into more of a glorified cardio, and you're going to be wasting muscle away. So I always try to have some kind of element of strength, some kind of element of hypertrophy, no matter if you're gaining or cutting. If you're going to be in a deficit, let the cardio be the caloric burn that you need. If you're in the off season, you don't need to be doing a ton of cardio. You want to focus on trying to gain as much muscle as possible. Those were the questions from last week. And now I'm going to dive into the ones from this week. And of course, if anybody has any extra questions, just go ahead and comment them in the thread, and I'll get to them, as they come up in between everyone else's. All right, so Matt asked a couple questions leading off. Is soy protein good/bad? Does it affect testosterone? Matt, so actually, and I like these Q&As because it tests me as a coach. I mean, although I've heard that, soy is bad for testosterone, I've actually never looked up like the studies on it. So thanks, Matt, for this great question. To be short, the answer is yes. It does affect testosterone. And really, what's the main thing in soy is, I had to write it down, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's isoflavones. They actually increase estrogen. So obviously, for males, increased estrogen is not going to be good, especially when we're in contest prep. So yeah, Matt, I mean, I wouldn't recommend males eating a ton of soy products or soy protein just because of the increased estrogen. Now, I did look at a couple of studies, and they did double-blind studies where they gave one group of people soy, and then the other group of people non-soy protein products. And at the end, the ones that ate the soy products, their testosterone was lowered from the beginning. And especially for contest prep, we know, especially as natural athletes, your testosterone goes down tremendously as you diet through contest prep. So eating things like soy, if it does in fact lower your testosterone level, is not going to be a good combination to a long contest prep diet. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. Matt also asked a second question. He said, what inspired me to become a coach? That was a really good question, Matt. I've actually never been asked that one before. So I'll be honest, in the time that I got into contest prep coaching, it was still kind of a new thing. I started competing in 2011, and then really like the boom, I would say, hit in about 2015. I started coaching officially in 2014 when I was kind of going through my own contest prep. And I just saw a need in the market, honestly, just because there was coaches out there at the time, but I thought that I could do a little bit better, be a little bit more personable, and talk to people on a level that they could understand. So I just saw it, as something that I could potentially be good at, and I had no idea, that I would be doing this for a living. In all honesty, I asked one kid at a gym that I was working at if I could prep him for a contest, and he agreed. And he was a young teenage kid. He's still working with me currently Shout out to Jimmy. But I just wanted to see if I would like it. I mean, I knew that I liked bodybuilding myself, but I didn't know how it would be, training other people. And in the long run here, all these years, I actually get more excited, for my clients competing, and I'm actually more nervous for my clients competing than I am for myself bodybuilding. So really, it keeps it exciting for me. I only compete like basically every 3 years. So in the time that I'm not on stage, it really keeps me fired up. It really keeps me motivated. So honestly, like there wasn't a particular instance that inspired me to become a coach. But I would say, I'm just inspired by my clients, year after year, and especially all the people that have turned pro with me. I've had some people do well in the pro ranks too. So if they're doing well, I got to make sure I'm doing well too, as far as, competing wise and keeping up with things. And that's why, I'm also doing these videos, just because it does make me become a better coach, because I have to stay on top of things. Julie asked me another one. If your weight loss or fat loss is stalling, do you always, and she capitalized always, need to cut calories and increase cardio? Julie, that's a great question. I know we've talked about this one personally, but to answer her question shortly, no. There are times when fat loss does stall that you need to increase calories, and unfortunately, and this is where coaches tend to ruin their clients, and I've gone on long rants about that, they only know how to push, only know how to press the gas. They don't know how to drive with a brake or even to coast. And unfortunately, they just cut calories until their clients are starving. And it is very, very common, and it's an unfortunate thing in the industry, but really, and I've seen it before, I've seen it with myself, I've seen it with people that I work with. I've actually had somebody's weight stall, and then let's say it stalls for 2 weeks, and they're really, really close to being stage ready. I will actually give them more food. Typically I leave cardio the same, but I just give them more food, and their weight goes down. And I'm not saying that's going to happen every single time. Maybe it's the cortisol levels dropping. I can't really say what is the driving factor from it, but more often than not, when you start to feed somebody, if they are close enough to really stage conditioning, then I would say there's a good chance that they're going to drop weight, and they're going to drop fat, I should say. So if your weight stalls, don't be afraid to start increasing your calories if you're very close to stage weight, and that's tough to do on your own. Let's say if you don't have a coach, if you do have a coach and they only believe in pressing on the gas, maybe it's time to find another coach or get an opinion from somebody else, that believes in not just, running you into the ground. Lydia asked me a couple questions in this thread, so we'll get to Lydia's. I'll answer the ones that she asked me on Facebook first at my post. She said pre-sleep rituals, supplements, food that helps with sleep, and also things that you found that hinder sleep. Also, is it normal for everyone to not make it through the night without having to pee, or is it just me? Oh man, that's funny, Lydia. Obviously, I'll answer the last one first, is in regards to going to the bathroom over the night. There are actually some nights where I make it through and not have to go to the bathroom, but that is a rare occasion. I usually get up at least once to go to the bathroom, but I do try, and this might go into the pre-sleep ritual, I try to limit my water consumption. I usually go to bed about 10 o'clock every night. I usually try to limit my water consumption from 9 to 10. And that's a luxury I have right now, being in an off season, and I'm not starving. When I'm in contest prep, I typically drink more water to keep me more satiated, just to keep my stomach full. So then I probably will be going to the bathroom at night. But one tip for you is, Lydia, cut your water. Don't cut it out, but slow it down about an hour before you're going to bed, and that might help from having to go so bad at night. Another pre-sleep ritual, man, you're getting me with these tongue twisters, that I do is I try to cut out all social media, computers, my phone, at 9 o'clock also. So, I mean, I will like have the TV on or something, but usually I just take that time like to wind down and not do anything, just kind of let my mind shut off. Just because a lot of our phones do have like the blue light factor in it, and you can put it on night mode, but I just feel like, if you are engaged on Facebook, if you're on your computer, if you're on your cell phone, your mind's kind of racing a little bit more. So I would always just say, put it down once again with the water about an hour before you go to bed, and that'll help. Some people like, drinking tea. Sometimes I take Corzies if I am like really amped up and I know I really need to get a good night's sleep. Once again, in my off season, I mean, I get pretty quality sleep. You could ask my wife. I mean, I'm pretty much sleep straight through the night and barely ever wake up, even if it is just go to the bathroom. Now, during contest prep, I probably will be utilizing Corzies a little bit more just to help, aid with sleep, especially as I get deeper and deeper into prep. So I guess that would be the supplement as far as helping, you get sleep at night. Bronwyn asks, what is the difference between IIFYM and flexible dieting, and which one is the best? So that was the first time I've been asked that question, and it threw me for a loop there because, I mean, it can be used as synonyms, honestly. I think when people say IIFYM, they think of like Pop-Tarts and ice cream, and that's what people are eating, and that's been kind of popularized. And there's a whole brand out there that sells shirts that have donuts on it and cake and ice cream that says like IIFYM. Now there's a whole movement of people that do just eat junk food out there, and if it fits their macros, whatever. But flexible dieting, and I would say that flexible dieting and responsible dieting would be used as synonyms, which would include fitting in nutritious foods into your diet that make up your macronutrients. And although, once again, they're very, very similar terms, flexible dieting to me just is a little bit a higher level of thought that goes into choosing the foods that you're consuming, where opposed to IFYM is just like I don't care what macros are, I'm going to eat, whey protein and donuts, and it's going to fit my macros. So which one is the best? I would say flexible dieting if I had to choose one, but really responsible dieting, as long as you are having, enough micronutrients in the foods that you're choosing. So I would say, do that. Flexible dieting, responsible dieting would be a little bit more superior than to just eating a bunch of junk and fitting it into your macros. Julie decided to troll me again, and she said, is butter a carb? And I had to message her privately because I had no idea what the hell she was talking about, and evidently it's from a movie, but that one was way over my head. So thanks, Julie. Sam, continuing the trend of trolling me, said, which protein will help me gain lean mass, only lean mass? I don't want to get bulky. Once again, Sam, I know you're trolling me. You can stop. But that is a very valid question, and I told her I would cover it. The main thing when choosing protein powders is actually not the protein itself, but your overall diet. So if you want to gain lean mass, you have to see how many calories you're eating. Obviously, you could drink all the protein that you want. If you're in a deficit, there's a chance that you might be losing muscle. And if you don't want to get too bulky, meaning fat, you obviously don't want to be taking, 4 mass gaining shakes a day. So really, the protein is going to be based off of your current needs and how much protein that you want. And then she did kind of answer her question, which would be core iso. I mean, I would recommend some kind of isolate to anyone, or some kind of whey concentrate, which core does have both of those, but Sam already knows that. Dude, Carol asked, have you never seen Mean Girls? You got to fix that ASAP, man. No, honestly, Carol, I have not seen Mean Girls. I am proud to say that. I'm sorry. Matthias, how far out should one, in your opinion, start practicing mandatories? In what format? All right, Matthias, that is a very good question. Honestly, dude, I mean, I know when you're going to compete. Matthias is going to compete next year around this time. I would start practicing. You have to be a little bit leaner in order to, see the cuts and everything, because you could practice all day that you want in the off season, but you can't flex the same as because there's just too much fat. So I would say at least like 20 weeks out, I would start practicing. 16 to 20 weeks out, and that way it's effortless by the time you get into the time that you're going to compete. Lydia asked your opinion on massage and chiropractic work for bodybuilders. So Lydia, that is a very good question and is very relevant to me at this current time. So I am currently going to a chiropractor. I just started going, basically for preventative maintenance on me next year. Now, I don't really have, any really bad injuries. I've never had really problems with my back before, but I wanted to see where I was at. And I happen to know a chiropractor personally. She always said, if I need to go to somebody for chiropractic work, to see her. So that was nice of her to offer. I mean, obviously I'm still paying her and everything. Hey, Jen. I went to her and they gave me an evaluation and everything. And believe it or not, even though I'm on all kind of joint support and I do all kind of dynamic and static stretching, my disc, just overall, they're compressed. And I've only been going for a couple weeks now, so I'm kind of interested to see, basically at the end of December when they retake my X-rays, what's the result. But in all honesty, I've been going for a couple weeks and I already feel a lot better. It's just the simple cracking, and then they have some other devices that they use. Now, they do give massages when they're there too. I will admit that they're a little bit lighter than I would like. But I tend to carry a lot of stress in my traps and my upper back. Definitely massages. I do have kind of a little home medics like massage chair at home, or it's like a seat cover. ART chiropractic, yeah, I probably do need that, Melanie. But that might be something that I'll incorporate, over the course of next year's contest prep, just because, any extra tool that you could use, to optimize performance, to optimize recovery, to keep you healthy. Obviously, the most important thing, basically, of contest prep, is to remain healthy. Because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to step on stage. So really, I've talked to older bodybuilders before, and they're like, "Oh man, wait till you hit 30." I hit 26, and I'm already feeling it. And I plan to do this for a very long time. And it's weird to say, at 26. That I'm taking, a comprehensive joint support pill, that I'm going to a chiropractor, because you typically think that, it's only for people that are injured, or it's only for people, that are elderly or whatever, that or need to be adjusted. And for me, I'm looking at the long term. I really do put my body through the ringer. So I am going to be going to a chiropractor. For sure for the next 3 months. They got me on a little program just to fix a few things, and I'll probably be going monthly all of next year, just to make sure everything is lined up and that I'm healthy. So whatever they can do for me, to make my body perform a little better, I'm gonna take advantage of it. That's just something else that a lot of other people don't do, and hopefully, by the time I'm 40, I won't be having the issues that some of these guys have and have to quit. So Lydia, that was a great one, and I swear I will. Lydia asked, what joint support supplements do I recommend? Just because it's relevant to this one, I will get to everyone else's. But Lydia, initially, I started around when I was like 21. I was taking just glucosamine. I took that for a couple years. Tommy, you beat me to the answer. But yeah, Core Flex. I do take Core Flex. I took the pills. I've taken the powder. I just prefer the pills. I think they're easier to get down for me. But instead of just glucosamine, it has glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, Cissus, and a couple other things. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at Core Flex. Obviously, with Iron Management, we get the little discount code that you know of. So that's if I was going to recommend one thing that everybody should be taking, it would be a joint support, just because of the amount of stress we put on our bodies. But that was a good one, Lydia. So let me get to another one. Oh, damn. Lydia's just inundating me with questions. She said, what is my favorite food slash dessert indulgence? I would say my favorite food, if I had to pick, like if I'm not going to track macros, which I usually do, and I still will try to fit it in, would just be like a nice steak. Typically, any kind of steak really just throws my fat off a ton, but depending on the cut. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy fillets. And even fillets, if you have a big enough steak, it'll throw your fat off. But I mean, I really like steak. My dessert indulgence, I really do like cookies. I typically eat a lot of Oreos, even though I shouldn't because I am allergic to chocolate. But my favorite cookie, I mean, I do really like Oreo balls, but once again, that is chocolate, so I shouldn't eat that. My favorite cookie is a white chocolate chip macadamia nut. Lydia is coming to town, so if she wants to bake me some cookies, go for it. Garrett always asks me good questions. Training while being sick, more specifically, training with a minor cold. Is it a good idea or better to stay at home and not to do anything at all? Garrett, so I mean that's a tough one because some people think they're gonna sweat out their colds and they swear by it. And honestly, I mean if I was in contest prep and I were to get a cold, depending on how far I was in the season, I would probably try to go to the gym and work out. If you are, in your off season and you feel like you're getting the sniffles one day and it's really not going to kill you to miss the gym, then go ahead and take a day off. Training while sick, if you're deathly sick, like if you have the flu or something like that, don't spread your germs. Honestly, I mean, I've gotten sick before from people coming to the gym and coughing all over me, and I was out for like 5 days, and that really pissed me off. So don't go to the gym if you're sick. Stay home, recover. I mean, you'll probably be better in a couple days, depending on what you have, and then go back to the gym and just crush it. Tommy, I know you're still around here, Tommy, said, what is my favorite core supplement recipe or baked good? Well, Tommy, I mean, I'm sure you've been following my Instagram recently. I just made mini core blueberry MRP muffins, and they were pretty damn good. I can't say that I really bake too much. I eat pretty plainly, honestly. I will do my best to try new things. If you really want some better recipes, you could go follow Courtney. She's the one that does all of our recipes, or even Sam. I will try my best to make the recipes. I tried one time to make something out of scratch, and it was straight up inedible. It was just, it was the worst thing I've ever tried to eat. So the core MRP muffins were very good. They were, if anyone wants it, I could send them the link to the recipe. I'd highly recommend that. They were very easy to make. I mean, I made them by myself without any supervision. So go for it. All right, Leah, is it bad if you go over recommended cardio? And then what are some healthy fats you would recommend? Okay, so Leah, is it bad if you go over recommended cardio? Yeah, I mean, I would say if you go over your recommended cardio, your coach is not going to know that. They assign the amount of cardio for a reason, and you should try to stick with it. Especially, if you're going, like, let's say double time on cardio. Obviously, they wouldn't know that you're going over on cardio, so they think, you're only doing 10 minutes when in reality you might be doing 20 or more minutes. So yeah, don't go over on cardio. What are some healthy fats you'd recommend? That's a tough one because I am a guy that just does not like fat. And I don't know why, but my main fats come from like almonds. I get most of my fats from like meat. So today I had like ground beef. I do eat nuts, other nuts, but I'm just not a big fat guy. I don't even like cheese, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I don't like cheese. I just don't like fat in general. But I don't even like avocado. I know everybody loves avocado, but I can't stand it. It's too mushy. So I mean that would be another good one. I don't like oil. I don't like butter. I don't like any fat. So I am not the guy to ask for healthy fat recommendations. Garrett asked me, when am I coming to visit Nova? And for everybody who doesn't know what Nova is, Lydia, I don't want to say it, but that Oreos are a fat source for me. Peanut butter, Jen, you know what? I ate a ton of peanut butter during prep, and sometimes I just get sick of the foods that I'm always eating during prep. It's super weird. Like today I had a burrito for the first time, like since last time I competed almost. And honestly, I'm just like, damn, I ate way too many burritos. So like that's the same thing with peanut butter. Like I had peanut butter and like a bagel every day for breakfast with tuna, and I just sometimes I just can't get it down. Anyway, God, when am I coming to Nova? For those who don't know what Nova is, I don't even know if I really know what it is, but it's like Northern Virginia. I think that's what it stands for, because it's a big deal in Virginia if you're in the north or in the that for me. When am I coming to Nova? Oh shit! Oh, there the video went out and it came back. All right, damn, that was bad. I might be coming around Christmas time, depending on if I get invited to the core Christmas party. I don't know. I'll have to ask Doug about that one. So, Ben got me with this one. He's making me answer it. What shows am I aiming for in 2018? Well, Ben, I thought about running a stealth prep like Ben does. Ben Goins, if he's on here, give me a like, Ben. But hey, there he is. Ben, I have a monster year set up for me next year, brother. I will admit, I will tell you for a show that I'm for sure gonna do, and that's gonna be the IPE Windy City show, and that's gonna be in about mid-August. It'll be right on my 1-year wedding anniversary, so it'll be a perfect time to compete. I'm sure my wife is going to love that. We'll celebrate together with me stepping on stage. But that's going to be that's going to be the first show I plan on doing, if you get my hint, Ben. And then I do plan on making a run. So next year, I'm going to try to do the Windy City. I'm going to try to go to Kansas City to compete in the Pro International. And this weekend coming up, there's actually one show in Minnesota that I'm going to for core. It's an IPE show, but more importantly, the Yorton Cup is also this weekend. And depending on the rules, and you never know what the rules are going to be as far as qualifying for the Yorton and switching over to the OCB and all that shit, honestly. I might try to do the Yorton, and then my overlying goal for next year, and I've gone on record of this before, I really want to make a run at the World Championships in the IPE, the lightweight class. Depending on what the weight cutoff is, I really don't care. I'm just going to try to bring the best package I can. I've had long enough off where I think that I've been paying attention. I'll obviously pay attention this year to see how I would stack up in the lightweight class. But my goal next year is first of all, to qualify for Worlds, to compete, and to see how well I can do at the world title. So whether I can win the lightweight class, whether I get my ass kicked, I don't know. I just want to get there and see what happens. So Ben, I have a monster year planned. There's going to be a lot of shows, and that's all I'm going to say. You could talk to me in private if you really want to find out what the hell I'm going to be doing. I will be documenting a lot of it on here, obviously, on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel, so I'll probably be doing weekly updates. I don't know if I'm going to be writing anything for core. But yeah, that is going to be an interesting year, to say the least. And then Ben was trolling me a lot on Facebook too, which he always seems to do. All right. Lydia did ask another question under Ben's. Sure thing, Ben. Lydia asked, how do you know what is and she capitalized too much protein intake? Should you limit yourself based on your current weight? At what point do you need to be concerned about kidney damage? Someone recently asked me this. Yeah, Lydia, I mean, that is a great question, and doctors hate that we intake so much protein. And you'll hear people say that, you don't need that much protein, you get enough protein from the plants that you get and everything, and I think that's a bunch of shit. So, how much protein should you be taking? And everybody always swears by 1 gram per pound of body weight, and that's good. That's a good place to start. Now, for someone that's obese, let's say they're 350 pounds, 400 pounds. Would you want somebody intaking 350 grams to 400 grams of protein if they weigh 400 pounds? Well, if you're weighing 400 pounds, my guess is your lean body mass is not that, it's not that great. So you don't have 300 pounds of lean mass if you're weighing 400 pounds. So that's where you could go off of lean body mass. But typically the people that I'm working with are not morbidly obese. Obviously, they're more athletes. So we typically try to stay within a 1 gram per pound of body weight. I really don't ever go under too much, to 1.5. Now, if you were to do 1.5 times your body weight, you would find that that is a substantial amount of protein. The highest I've ever really gotten, and I think I calculated it, was like 1.4, and that was a lot. And that just kind of varies on my body weight. But right now, I mean, I weigh 193 pounds, and I'm intaking 280 grams of protein. So I don't do mental math. Everything's on a calculator or a computer. So if anybody wants to tell me what my ratio is right now at 280 grams and 193 pounds, I mean, go for it. But my guess, it's probably right around 1.3, 1.4. I really don't typically go any higher than 1.5. I don't think it's necessary. Kidney damage, to answer your second question, I honestly don't know how much would be too much. Maybe if you're at like the two times range for a very, very long time. Carol, thank you. 1.45. All right, very good. You're a smart person. I appreciate that. So yeah, there it is. 1.45 is where I'm at, and I will not probably won't go any higher, because when I do start to go diet down, my protein will come down slowly too as my body weight obviously drops. I won't need to intake 280 grams of protein when I'm 170 pounds, because that would just be a little much. So yeah, there's Lydia's second question. I think that was it for the questions that were asked previously on Facebook, and now I'm going to go through the thread here. And Matt, if he's keeping track, I think I'm at like 37 minutes. I haven't taken a drink. So Matt, if you're still around, I made it 37 minutes without drinking, buddy. Some of that water just got in my eye. All right. So I'm going to see what everybody else had to say here. Lydia, man, just full of questions with Lydia. How do you live with the balances of living with a non-competing bodybuilder? Okay. I feel the struggle with being married to someone who does not track, let alone weigh food. Lydia, no, that was very relevant. Just because, honestly, a lot of married couples, they don't necessarily compete together, and they don't, weigh their food. My wife doesn't weigh her food. In all honesty, I don't even care, honestly. It doesn't bother me one bit. It doesn't bother her that I weigh my food. She's been with me over 9 years now, and I've been bodybuilding for like 7 of those years. So no, she doesn't. I don't mind it that she doesn't track her food, and she doesn't mind it that I do. And honestly, she's very supportive of it, just because, we do try to eat the same foods. When in contest prep next year, it is going to be a little bit more difficult, I would say, but she's willing to basically, I do a lot of the cooking in the household, believe it or not. So, sometimes I cook our food separately just because, she likes, oil instead of Pam on her, to fry her foods or whatnot. But really, like, if you guys work hard enough at it, you could basically, eat the same foods and weigh them out. And especially in the off season, which I know that you are, I know that, you have a little bit more flexibility with eating. So I think you just asked another question here, which I'll try to scroll to. Let's see. She ended up doing all the cooking. Yeah, if he knows, basically, if Catherine ever cooks for me, all she does, and I wish I had she made cookies at her mom's house the other day, and she wrote on a sticky note, like, she calculated the macros for me, because she knows how to do macros, and she just wrote it on a sticky note, like, what one cookie is. So all I had to do was basically save that for my macros for the day, and it was super easy. I mean, I could still eat it. So maybe try to get your husband to roughly calculate the macros for you, especially in your off season, if you're going to be doing the cooking. And it doesn't take that much effort, so try to have him help out a little bit, and so you don't have to do all the cooking. And I'm scrolling back and forth here. I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm getting everybody's questions. All right, Brianna asked, for your non-competitors, how do you decide whether they are an endpoint that is should be maintained? Do you listen to their feed on what they like, or is it certain body fats? And then I don't know if I could go to see more percentage that you like them to be maintained. I understand that is wording on the question, maybe. Yeah, a little bit tough wording there, Brianna. But really, for a non-competitor, I go as far as they want to go, within reason, of course. So really, there's no body fat percentage that they have to be at. I mean, I don't think anybody really should shoot for a body fat percentage. It doesn't really matter, what it is. It's more of a look at the end. So as long as they're happy, that's when we stop. We might push a little past that just so we could reverse them up. And that's what I really like to do. All right, still scrolling through everybody's questions that they asked during the thread. There was quite a few today. It's going long again. Core Flex, we talked about that. Matt, how do you eat Reese's if you're allergic to chocolate? Matt, why do you gotta poke holes in my logic? I'm not that allergic to chocolate. Really, I just break out in a rash. My neck turns red, and my chest gets red. It's not like it closes my throat. I don't, I do break out in highs, but it's whatever. Let's see what anybody else asks here. We're almost done. Ben, current off-season weights, 193, brother. Do you recommend back-to-back shows? This is Bronwyn, or a little room between. Back-to-back shows, back-to-back weekends, are very tough to do. I like to see at least one week in between, just to give the body a little bit of rest, because usually shows you have to travel for. If the shows are close, you can compete back-to-back weekends. You just got to make sure, if you are competing back-to-back weekends, that you're not having a huge meal after that first show, knowing that you basically have to dive into another peak week right after that. All right, let's see. Shut up, Matt. Matt's trolling me. I'm reading his comments about not drinking. All right, let's see. Tyler Kroll. Are you going to be at NGA Peoria as a spectator? I am not, man. I am going to be in Minnesota running a booth at the Clash of the Titans. Good luck, though. I saw you're competing. It's going to be a good show. I will be watching your social media to see how you do. So good luck with that, man. Tina, she calculated macros for you. So sweet. Best wife ever. Yeah. Tina, my wife is really good about calculating the macros for anything that she makes, even though I was on her butt because she used vegetable shortening, and I looked at the recipe. I mean, it made 34 cookies, but the fat for all the shortening was 192 grams of fat. And I'm just like, Catherine, do you have to use 192 grams of fat in shortening to make these cookies taste good? I mean, that's just how their family cooks. So it's just kind of funny. But that's right now I could eat the cookies just because, my fat's definitely high enough. But yeah, she calculates my macros pretty much no matter what. We had a nice dinner yesterday too, and she had everything weighed out for me when I came home, and we had tilapia. Not that I'm trying to thin my skin or anything, but she told me right away as soon as I basically walked in the door, she was cooking, and she's like, all right, your tilapia weighed 5.25 ounces today. I'm like, all right, awesome, here we go. And then I just kind of added on everything. So really, if you're a significant other your husband, your wife is really tracking their macros, I mean, do try and take the extra effort to at least understand what they're doing and what their food consists of. Because really, I mean, if all you have to do is you have to weigh a piece of fish or you have to weigh out some potatoes, and all you have to do is tell them, like, hey, I cooked you 134 grams of potatoes today, or I gave you, one serving of French fries, with your hamburger. I mean, that's all you got to do. It doesn't really take that much effort. You and your fat again. Yeah, Matt. Cod is the current day skin thinner. Yep. Now, I knew it, Ben. I knew it. That was your secret to getting shredded. I'm gonna steal that for my next prep. I'm getting all kind of cod. I do have cod fillets in the freezer right now, but they're breaded. They got too much fat and not enough protein, so I don't eat them. But I think that's it, everybody. I think I got to everyone's questions today. If not, I will answer them in next week. So thanks again for tuning in. Once again, it's going to be every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. This one ran officially 46 minutes, which is just a little bit longer than the last one. But I do appreciate all the awesome questions. A lot of my clients are jumping in on it. And Ben, thank you for tuning in as well. Pro secrets, damn it. So I will see everybody next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I hope everybody comes back. I do appreciate you turning in. Have a great week, and I'll talk to a lot of you soon. See ya. Bye.